Hey, what's up you guys? To go off of my last video where I was talking about popular games I didn't like, I kind of want to follow that trend and then talk about franchises that lost me over time. Meaning franchises that I completely loved and then they started making crap games. Let's start off with one that really hurts. Borderlands. I remember playing Borderlands on the Xbox 360 and it completely just blowing my mind. Playing that split screen, playing with other people. I truly believe that the Borderlands series is meant to be played co-op, not alone, but I think you could have fun either way. And the first game had a lot of character, a lot of charm, a lot of uniqueness to it that I hadn't seen in other games. So when Borderlands 2 came out, I was all in, and I got to play this game in a 4-player co-op, and maybe that is what spoiled the series for me. I played from beginning to end with 3 of my favorite people, and that game is my all-time favorite Borderlands game. Borderlands 2 is 100% worth a playthrough if you have not already. And when Borderlands 3 came out, I bought it for the Xbox One, and I don't know if it was like the performance of the game or having to play it on split screen where we had played Borderlands 2 on PC. Something didn't click. I didn't like the story. I didn't like how laggy it was. I didn't like the split screen. It felt like it was missing that special ingredient that makes Borderlands what it is. And so after Borderlands 2, they really did lose me. I even tried playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Now, to be fair, I tried to play that alone, and maybe that is where I messed up on these things. Tiny Tina's Wonderland should have been a slam dunk. One of the DLCs for Borderlands 2 was it like a D&D type thing, and I was like, holy crap, if they made an entire game like this, I would lose my mind, and they did. They made basically a D&D Borderlands game, and yet I'm bored. So please tell me what I'm missing. Have you played through Borderlands 3 or Tiny Tina's Wonderland? Do I need to be playing it on a different platform? Do I need to be playing it with other people? Or am I right? Are they missing that like special ingredient that made Borderlands so great?
What is up, my bandit legions? God Queen Tyrene coming at you live with my brother Troy. We're streaming, you're screaming, and we're all ready to open the great vault.
Next up on my list, and it shouldn't be of any surprise to anybody because I've said it numerous times, Pokemon. I am a big Pokemon fanatic. If you've watched any of my videos ever, you'll see in the background that I have Pokemon stuff everywhere. I try not to talk about it too much because I know most people just want to talk about retro games and not so much Pokemon. But growing up, I got Pokemon Yellow as my first copy, played through the Ruby, I played through the DS games, the 3DS games, and after X and Y, I think that's when they finally lost me. I liked X and Y, and those ones didn't actually do that well. Didn't like Sun and Moon. However, it's almost like every game they released after maybe the Game Boy Advance, maybe the DS era, they slowly were like trickling away from what made them special, what probably made them so popular. The popularity is what's keeping them in business. People seem to not really care what they're peddling out. They just buy their crap regardless of how broken it is. Scarlet and Violet being an example of that. I didn't even buy that game. They can literally make almost anything, slap Pokemon on it and make money, which is kind of a problem. And I think people really should start paying attention and really, use their wallets as their weapons. If you want better games, stop buying the crap that they're peddling. Arceus really wasn't my vibe. I didn't like catching a Pokemon over and over again to complete the whatever it was. It wasn't really a Pokédex, but it kind of was. Or Pokemon Sword after a particular point of the game, which was really early on. I didn't find it really entertaining at all anymore. They've completely lost the magic. Or I've grown up and maybe it's just me. Maybe I grew up and maybe it's not there anymore. But I think if you really analyzed the Pokemon games, I think you would see that that special ingredient that made them so fun is missing. This next one also has been something of a struggle for me. Paper Mario. Paper Mario 64 is my all-time favorite one. I haven't completely played through Thousand Year Door for GameCube, but I am currently playing it, and I can see why people like this so much. So maybe after I beat that game, I'll have a new contender for a favorite. I've tried playing Paper Mario on the 3DS. I've tried playing it on the Wii U. I've tried playing it on the Switch, and although they all are very colorful and they're all very animated and they try to have that little humor in there, I think after the GameCube era, there was that Wii version, which I think was really where the crossroads started to split. Now, I'm on the team of I enjoyed that game. I liked playing as the 4 characters. I liked how weird and different it was. But then beyond that is when they lost me. I bought the Wii U version, the Paper Mario Paint one, and holy crap, was that unbelievably boring and a little gimmicky with the gamepad in terms of like choosing your cards. I also think that the 3DS version was also lackluster. I keep trying to play the game. It's got great music. It's got a pretty decent story, but yet every time I'll play a couple hours in and completely lose interest. So I think they've also kind of lost that special something, and I can't really put my finger on it, but the creativity and the humor in the original Paper Mario series isn't there anymore. This next one really sucks because the games were really awesome, and it also influenced me wanting to skateboard. Tony Hawk. I feel like these games were, you know, for 1 and 2 it was good for what there were, but then 3 and 4 it like amped up. Those games were really fun with all of the different tasks, the environments, the story. I could play that game non-stop and it would be fun every time, between the tournaments and the characters and the stats and all of the things that you could do. I even loved the Tony Hawk Underground series 1 and 2. I played those a lot. I thought they did a really good job of deviating from the regular norm, or at least what was the norm at the time, and then making a story out of it, which was really fun. Underground 2 really took that aspect of really making sure that all of the different teams were included in it, and I thought they did a really good job. I bought Tony Hawk for PlayStation 4, and the first thing I learned is that the majority of the game is not on the disc. So this is really my first exposure to what digital media is becoming. So that was a disappointment. And then I start playing the game, and that was probably the most like bland Tony Hawk game I've ever played in my life. That was unbelievably boring, a complete waste of money. And I don't know what happened, but I do not enjoy any of the newer Tony Hawk games. I don't know if they're even making them anymore, and they shouldn't after that. Tony Hawk Wasteland, I think, was the first time I really started getting that like inkling that I'm probably not going to like these games as much anymore. It just felt like a very empty version of what we used to get. I mean, Tony Hawk is amazing, not only because of its soundtracks, but because of its gameplay, or at least it used to be. Tell me in the comments down below, do you guys feel the same way about the Tony Hawk series? Do you think they really lost what made them them? I mean, for the Wii, they had, I don't even remember what it was called, but the Wii, they had that like skateboard unit. I don't think that did very well. Proving Ground, I don't think that did well either. I don't get it. And last but not least, Need for Speed. Well, really any of them. I used to play these a lot. Need for Speed Most Wanted being my like all-time favorite. I really also like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on the GameCube. Those games were a lot of fun. Making a racing game fun from beginning, middle to end, I think is a really difficult challenge, given that there's only so much you can do. Me personally, I like Need for Speed Most Wanted. I really liked that you could customize your car, that there was that really cheesy story, building up your way up the blacklist. And really after the Xbox 360 GameCube era, they really just became vanilla, I guess. I ended up buying Need for Speed on the PS4 like really early on when I first got a PS4. It was one of the first games I went out and got because it was fairly cheap, which probably should have been my red flag. But I started playing it and the story was awful. The gameplay was terrible. Like I don't understand. How do you go from games like Hot Pursuit on the GameCube and Need for Speed Most Wanted and then just start completely sucking? Like, I don't understand, like, what changed? Like, are you guys playing Need for Speed games after the Xbox 360 era? Did you enjoy them? I remember buying Hot Pursuit for the PlayStation 3. It was the very first game I bought for the system when I got it. I played it for, I don't know, maybe like an hour. And the only thing I found impressive about it was the graphics, and it's because it was one of my first, like, HDMI consoles that I bought. So, honestly, the gameplay didn't draw me in at all. It was really just how it looked, and that's just because at the time I was new to those like newer consoles. So those are some like game franchises that like lost me as a gamer. I have no interest in buying their newer games. I think that anything they put out is mediocre. I think it's missing something. I think they're not possibly putting in the work. That's me kind of jumping to conclusions. But let me know in the comments down below, are there any video game franchises that have lost you as a gamer? Whether it's art direction or the console they're on or whatever it is that they have done, what franchises have lost you as a gamer? And do you think you can pinpoint exactly what you think is missing? But thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget, there's a pixelated world waiting out there for you.